Are you trusting what celebrity chefs say to eat? Is it really the best choice for your health and for the environment? Hello, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and I'm your chef on a mission. Today's mission is salmon, farmed salmon, sustainable salmon, wild salmon. Should you be eating salmon? So, a lot of chefs out there are promoting farmed salmon. Now, if you've watched anything on my channel, or if you know anything about farmed fish, most of the people are going to say, "Yeah, farmed fish is terrible. Don't eat farmed fish. Farmed salmon is terrible." But then you have certain chefs like Chef Rick Moonen, and you have Martha Stewart, who are promoting farmed salmon. And these farmed salmon companies encourage, not only they encourage, but they encourage chefs to promote their product. And Rick Moonen, the godfather of sustainable seafood that I've been following for years. I thought Rick Moonen was just a fantastic, fabulous chef. His vision, his why. Why is he serving food? Why is he serving this fish? Because it's sustainable. And he was crowned the godfather of sustainable seafood. However, Rick Moonen has gone into the dark side. The dark side. I was in Las Vegas last week at RM Seafood. I sat down, I had a meal there. I just missed Rick. I had some questions to ask Rick. I was ready to go, questions. They said, "You just missed him. He was here. He should be back." So I had a salad at the bar. I had a glass of wine. I was with my daughter. We were at Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference. If any 10Xers out there, leave a comment, please. So if anybody follows Grant Cardone, leave a comment. It was an amazing event. So I was like, you know what? I'm here. I've made videos on Rick Moonen. I want to confront him and ask him face to face. I had a great conversation with his chef. His chef came out, because I started asking lots of questions. Like, first question I asked, I said, the calamari, where's it from? And the bartender goes, "I don't know." I was like, "Oh, okay, can you find out?" He comes out, he goes, "It's from the Pacific." I said, "It's from the Pacific?" So I said to him, I said, "Where at in the Pacific? China or California?" I said, "There's a big difference, right? You know, where is it caught? Where is it packed?" And he looked at me, he goes, "That's a great question." He goes, "I don't know." So he goes back and asked another question. This is the chef finally came out afterwards, and he told me that they were buying Point Judith. So he goes to me, the chef says, "We buy Point Judith calamari." I go, "That's odd," because the bartender went back and asked, and I was told Pacific, and then I asked, "Well, what Pacific? China or?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah." He goes, "We buy from a company called The Right Choice." And I go, "Oh, The Right Choice." And I said, "Sea Fresh." And he goes, "I don't know Sea Fresh." And I go, "Sea Fresh is the packer." See, I research all my food. I know where my food comes from. So he goes, "I don't really know." And I was like, "Yes, Sea Fresh is the packer. It's an American packer. It's like Town Dock or one of the other ones, but it's all American. They pride themselves, and they just put it out there for a distributor, and the distributor puts the Right Choice logo." So I said, The Right Choice is a private brand. It's a private logo. It's not something. It's a proprietary product for a distributor. And he goes, "Oh, so you didn't really kind of understand that?" I said, "Yeah," and I think he understood once I told him. But here's the thing I wanted to ask Rick, because Rick promotes True North salmon, and True North salmon is a farm salmon owned by Cooke Aquaculture. Cooke Aquaculture is one of the most, how can we say this? They're not very well respected in the industry because of their bad operating procedures. The disease that they breed, the way they interact with the locals, the way they destroy the environment, the ecosystems where they are, the way they disregard a lot of things. And Cooke Aquaculture happens to be one of the worst. They just got fined big time in Washington State because they let a bunch of fish go because they weren't cleaning their nets, and they, of course, they deny everything. Cooke Aquaculture was under a lot of scrutiny in Scotland for discharging untreated waste from the salmon processing plant. So they were facing fines there. They're known for this. This is a standard operating procedure for Cooke Aquaculture. A lot of the other farms too, by the way. They just disregard all this. So I wanted to stand face to face with Rick Moonen. I wanted to say, "Rick, okay, why are you supporting True North? Why is True North? Did True North pay you? Why is it that True North has gotten a hold of you specifically? What made you switch to from wild salmon to farm salmon. What made you switch? I'd like to hear your story objectively. I spoke to a chef about this, and I told the chef stuff that the chef had no idea, and he was like, well, I'm going to ask Rick now why we're supporting the salmon. And I had a great conversation with him. He was like, I don't know why we're supporting the salmon. He goes, I really don't. I was like, here's what's going on in the industry. Here's what's going on. So the interesting thing with Rick Moonen was, he knows that farm salmon is bad. He knows that. There's no doubt he knows that farm salmon is a terrible thing. But he thinks True North is a better one. Now, in his sushi counter at his restaurant, they serve Scottish salmon. So he thinks he's serving True North, which is on a higher pedestal, which really isn't. It's Cooke Aquaculture. By the way, Cooke Aquaculture recently bought a rendering plant for chicken and a pork rendering plant, so they could take chicken feathers and chicken beaks and pork parts and grind them up and put them into pellets for their salmon, because they know that the salmon farms are depleting the global supply of wild fish. They have to go in and just have to basically just rape and pillage all these wild fish to feed their farm salmon, because the salmon eats other fish. So they go in and they wipe out anchovy stocks, herring. They go in and just wipe things out, and so they know that there's an issue with doing that. Cooke knows that, so they bought this rendering plant so they can put spare chicken, leftover spare chicken and pork parts into their pellets. And of course, the chef didn't know that. I wanted to ask Rick Moonen if he actually knew that Cooke Aquaculture does that and did that. I actually wanted to ask Rick Moonen also if he could actually provide the ingredients that go into the fish pellets that go. That's really one of the questions I wanted to ask Rick. Because, see, Martha Stewart, when she promotes True North, she got on there and she was like, oh, I actually ate the pellets because I wanted to make sure the fish were eating good quality food. Well, yeah, you might eat stuff, but is it actually, what's actually in it? So that's a question for Martha Stewart too. What's actually in those fish pellets, Martha, that you were bragging about eating? So I wanted to ask Rick Moonen, what, now what I'm told from industry experts, that Marine Harvest will publish what's in their food, that other companies don't. It's a proprietary blend. They don't let it out there. And so I wanted to ask Rick, were there chemicals in there? What's actually in there? That ethoquinone, which is that really toxic chemical from Monsanto. I wanted to see if that was in there. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it properly. So then I wanted to ask Rick why he thinks that serving True North salmon compared to Scottish salmon, because Scottish salmon is deemed some of the worst in the world. I mean, Norway's done a lot of bad things. Canada's done a lot, but you look at Don Sanford's work from salmonfarmingkills.com, and you look at his work. You look at a lot of these other people's findings in Scotland, and it is just a horrendous industry. So, of course, Rick didn't attach a name to the Scottish salmon farm. And I think he didn't attach a name to the Scottish salmon farm because they don't pay him. True North Sea pays him. A friend of mine said, oh yeah, Marcus, I put my logo of my beef company on my menu and they paid me $900. My friend doesn't even have a famous restaurant. He's just serving beef. So Rick Moonen proudly displays True North salmon all over everything if you look. So I want to know, so the Scottish people probably aren't paying him, so he just has Scottish salmon there. True North is paying him. That's how this works, folks. Rick, if you're watching this, if somebody knows Rick, wants to tweet this to Rick, tweet this to him. Because I'd like him to answer these questions. There were some other activists that had actually emailed Rick a couple years back, and he didn't really answer them completely, or didn't actually stop answering them from what I was told, because they asked him they were asking him specific questions pertaining to how salmon farming is done, and he didn't answer because maybe he didn't know, or maybe he was embarrassed to answer. But I'd really like Rick to leave some comments and answer on this. And again, Rick, I wanted to see you in person. I was really so interested in talking to you and confronting you, because it wasn't fair that I was picking on your chef. But your chef saw the point. He's like, I'm going to ask Rick what's going on here, because this isn't all right. So Scottish salmon. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask Rick was, did you know that 25% of farmed Scottish salmon end up dying? There's a mortality rate of 25% as a blanket of the overall industry. So I wanted to ask him what was causing that 25% death rate. I wanted to ask him if he actually knew that there are diseases in there, what was happening, what was just the overall gist of why 25%, a quarter of the salmon that are farmed in Scotland suffer mortality. They die. They die because of something. Why is that? That was one of the major questions I wanted to ask Rick. So, if I go back to Vegas, which I will be going back to Vegas for another conference, hope Rick is there, because I really want to see Rick and talk to him. And have a friendly debate and really find out, maybe does Rick Moonen know something that none of us other people know? Does he know something that's a special secret out there to True North? Or is he buying this amazing Scottish salmon that has a 0 death rate, that has nothing going on, that's feeding it a pure diet? You know, it's just funny. My daughter was there with me, and I'm gonna make another video on the chef's remarks, because the chef, the chef was kind of shocked, and he told me that True North salmon, he goes, well, the reason why True North is so good is because they layer them. They layer the fish out in the ocean. I'm like, they layer the fish? Like, what do you mean by layering the fish? It's like, you know, they layer them and rotate in layers. And you know, Rick, explain to me what the layering is, because I don't know what the layering is. Maybe I just don't have an experience. If any of you activists out there know what the layering is, or if you're in this industry, you know what the layering is, or you know what special thing that True North is doing, please leave some comments. I'd really like to know some comments of what makes True North so special. And too bad I couldn't talk to Rick. So let's get this video to Rick. Let's get Rick to answer some hard questions. Let's ultimately get Rick to clean his menu up. Let's get him to stop serving salmon. You know, see, for me, in my restaurant, it's about passion. I'm not going to buy something because people want it. Like, so if you own a sushi restaurant, you have to be serving salmon, right? You have to be serving fish that you know that might not be clean. But you know, if you're a sushi restaurant that says, I'm dedicated to serving the best seafood, and salmon's not one of them, then you don't serve salmon. That's the bottom line. You just don't serve it. So Rick knows that salmon farming is a detriment, but he has a sushi counter at his station. I'm not sure why he's not doing the True North. Maybe the Scottish salmon has some special powers over True North salmon from Scotland, as opposed to the east coast here of the U.S. going into Canada, where True North is located. Now, True North it's a brand of Cooke Aquaculture. I keep referring to True North. True North is just a brand of Cooke Aquaculture. Go to Stormcloud, the channel Stormcloud on YouTube. Stormcloud, type in Stormcloud Salmon. If you type in Stormcloud Salmon, you'll get the Stormcloud videos. They'll show you videos of all day them just sitting there recording tons of salmon that the mortality, the death of the salmon, the stench, and just them taking out dead salmon out of the nets, taking dead salmon out of the nets to clean up the farm because something happened, some kind of disease got in there. I'd like Rick to comment on that too. Now, here's another question for Rick. So let's say True North salmon is totally different than everything else Cooke Aquaculture produces. Let's just for an example. I don't think it is. I think that they handpick fish from certain farms, and it's not like it might not be in its own farm. See, like here in the Hudson Valley, we have Hudson Valley foie gras, which I think Rick was serving that too, Hudson Valley foie gras. A lot of places were serving that in Vegas. So Hudson Valley foie gras, I've been on the tour. I've seen the tour. I've been through the factory, through the farm. I've seen the ducks walking outside, and it's like, yeah, we got ducks that go outside, right? But the main question I asked there was, because I saw this in the mid-90s as a young chef, I said, okay, you're doing a global supply of foie gras from this one farm here in Ferndale, New York, which is 20 minutes from me, by the way. I said to them, you're supplying the world with foie gras. This farm, they go, no. I go, do you have other farms? And they go, yes, of course you have other farms. They go, oh. And me being from the area, I wasn't living here at the time. I was living in Colorado or something, or West Virginia. I was up here with friends visiting, showing them. And I said, where are the other farms at? And they go, oh, they're in certain locations, but I said, can we take a tour of them? Oh, no, you can't take a tour of them. They're closed off. You cannot. They're private. So I know where one of those farms are, because it's 5 miles from where my restaurant is, the other farm. I know where it is. I've been there. The ducks don't go outside. You can hear the ducks from inside. The ducks don't go outside. Everything's closed off. It's a totally different farm than what they're doing up in Ferndale. Totally different. So my hunch is that True North might have a show farm, but they might also be picking salmon from other places, from their other farm, because again, they have a global supply of salmon, True North, Cooke Aquaculture. So they might be picking from other places. Are they guaranteeing that it's one farm, one location, and all the salmon comes from there? And what is the mortality rate and disease rates and all that kind of stuff from there? That would be an interesting question. So my question to Rick is, let's say it's the best possible case that True North has segregated everything, and that True North is doing everything to such a higher level at that one farm compared to everything else Cooke Aquaculture does. all the other crap they do. Do you feel good, Rick, about supporting a company that is going into other parts of the world, into Scotland, into Canada, into Washington State, and destroying? Do you feel proud to give them money so they can carry on their other operations and basically destroy and disrespect and disregard and break the laws and just not really care? Do you feel good about supporting a company? That's like saying Coca-Cola is launching this new super organic soft drink that has this, this, and this under this private label. Would you feel good giving Coca-Cola money for their overall mission? Because it's a small little brand here that Coca-Cola's created. Do you feel good giving this company, this Coca-Cola, money and saying, here, I'm supporting you, knowing what everything else you do is bad? Well, Coca-Cola might not be a bad example. Let's say Monsanto. Let's say Monsanto comes out with a true organic label of this and that, and it's like, oh, wow, you can buy these true organic seeds from Monsanto. Would you feel good giving Monsanto money so they can carry out their global mission of genetically modified foods and chemicals? I wouldn't. Rick, I know you wouldn't. I know everybody else here wouldn't feel good about the overall giving money to the overall mission of destruction when they have one product that might be put on a pedestal. So Rick, I have a lot of questions for you there. Somebody please get this to Rick, email to him, tweet him. I'm not sure his Twitter address. We'll put his Twitter address in the title here. I know this is a long video. Thank you for staying in on this. This stuff is so important to me as a chef, as somebody who eats, and it's important to me because I care about our environment. I care about what's going on in the environment. As a chef, I want to be able to serve pure food for the next 20, 30, 40 years. I want to know that my restaurant has these options, and serving farmed salmon is not the option to be able to serving sustainable seafood by any stretch of the means now or in the future. It's just because it's killing off all the wild salmon out there. That's a whole nother video topic. Again, I know this video is long, and thank you so much for staying in. There's so much I have to say on this, and I'm very passionate about this topic. Until next time.